What is up guys, it's your favourite Scotsman Ryan here. Today I am going to bring you my unboxing and first impressions of the Galaxy S7 Edge. So I would just like to thank Carphone Warehouse for sending this device out, and I've had it for around a week now, so I'm definitely ready to give you guys my first impressions of the device. So with that said, let's jump in. So last year the Edge was probably the device to own, but it did have some issues, mainly battery life, which stopped me from using it as my daily driver. So has Samsung stepped up this year? Let's find out. So let's start with the specs. Luckily, as I live in the UK, our model is being powered by the 64-bit Exynos 8890 octa-core processor and not the Snapdragon 820 that you will find in other regions. We also have 4GB of RAM, a 5.5-inch Quad HD Super AMOLED panel, dual pixel 12MP rear camera and 5MP front camera, an IP68 dust and water resistancy rating, and also wireless charging and 32GB of onboard storage. So let's get this out of the box. First up we have the S7 Edge itself, and as you can see I opted for the gold colour, but let's put it to one side for a minute. Next we have the SIM ejector tool along with all the usual warranty and setup information I will likely never use or read. Next up we once again have the adaptive fast charging. With a larger battery in this year's Edge coming in at 3600 mAh, hopefully we won't need to utilise this as much as we did last year, but if you do, it will give you around 50% of juice in just 30 minutes of charging. Next up we have the micro USB cable that you will need to pair up with the fast charger, and as always it is of a decent length. Samsung has also included a little extra this year and has thrown in a USB connector, which may come in very handy for some. The last item out of the box is the earbuds, and they arrive in a smoked hard plastic case this year. I'll definitely be putting these to the test and will let you know my thoughts on them in the full review. So when you look at this year's Edge, you may think to yourself that it looks very similar to what we seen last year. You're not wrong, and this year is more of a refinement, and I am totally fine with that, as there are some key differences and most of them are definitely for the better. First of all, as you can see, there is definitely a size difference. Samsung has opted to use a 5.5-inch panel this year, up from 5.1-inch last year. Samsung also made the S7 ever so slightly thicker, and this in turn allowed them to put the larger battery inside, and I am definitely glad that they made this decision. So as you can see, we have the return of the glass back panel, and it collects just as many fingerprints as ever. So just like last year, I'll be going ahead and throwing some slick wraps on here, just to keep the device nice and grippy and looking good. On the rear, you will notice that the sharp edges present on last year's model have now been rounded off. This is a very awesome design change, and it now feels really good in the hand and not sharp like last year's Edge did, and this year's is much more pleasurable to hold in the hand for longer periods of time. Another welcome design change is the removal of last year's camera hump. This year it has been shaved down significantly, so there's less worry when laying the device down on the table, and overall it gives a more streamlined and satisfying look to the Edge. So another feature that has been removed is the IR blaster from last year's model, so if you did utilise this you are going to be a little disappointed. All is not lost though, as Samsung have brought back expandable storage that I definitely missed from last year's model. If you don't care for expandable storage, you can utilise the other slot for a second SIM card if you wish. Samsung has also once again made the S7 pool party friendly, as it is now IP68 rated, making it dust and water resistant, so you should be fine if you accidentally drop your device in the toilet or in the bathtub. So let's do a quick tour of the device. On the front up top you will find the 5MP front facing camera, earpiece and all the various sensors. Below the screen is the capacitive buttons and of course the home button / fingerprint reader. Just like last year, the fingerprint reader works flawlessly and it is super fast. On the bottom you will find the 3.5mm headphone jack, micro USB port for charging, microphone and of course the speaker. On the left is the volume buttons, and onto the right you will find the power button, and they all have a nice tactile feel, so there is no worry there. Onto the rear of the device, and this is where you will find the 12MP camera, flash and the heart rate sensor, which again, if you bother utilising, works just as good as it did last year. So onto my favourite part of every Samsung device over the past few years, and that is of course the screen. The 2560 by 1440 Super AMOLED panel is nothing short of gorgeous. Being Super AMOLED, the colours are vibrant, it's super sharp, and with a PPI of 534, you can't really go wrong. After using this for the last week, I would have to say that it is probably the best display that I have seen on a device to date. When it comes to the software, the S7 Edge is running Android 6.0.1 Marshmallow, but as you would expect, we have Samsung's TouchWiz overlay. I know most people love to know the available storage on devices, so my 32GB model had around 24GB of available storage. Just like they have done with the past few releases, Samsung have again toned TouchWiz down a little. We have a nice new colour scheme and less bloatware, so that is always a positive. To be honest, I will definitely throw a launcher on here after the review, as I am more of a stock Android guy. So Samsung did include a few new features on the Edge, making it very useful, and I find myself using it a lot more than I did last year. For example, we have CNN delivering you customised news, Apps Edge, which now allows you 2 rows of apps instead of just the one. We have Tasks Edge that allows you to create shortcuts to access specific functions within an app. And last of all, again, we have People's Edge for adding your favourite contacts. Another new feature is the always on display. Samsung claims this uses a negligible amount of battery, so you don't really need to worry about using it. Basically, this allows you to set things like clock, notifications, calendars, and even just a picture from Samsung's pre-selected bundle, and it will appear on your lock screen while the device is closed. It's pretty customizable, but if you don't like it, you can go ahead and switch it off in settings. When it comes to performance, the S7 Edge flies through any tasks that you throw at it with ease. And for those of you who like benchmarks, here is the Geekbench score for the octa-core variant. Gaming is an absolute pleasure on this device, and it doesn't get too warm. Samsung have also included some new features gamers will love, like game tools, and this is pretty much just a menu you can pull up during a game, and it will allow you to minimise the game, take a screenshot, or even record your gameplay. If you want to see a full gaming test with temperatures etc, be sure to let me know in the comments section. I know you guys are probably excited to know how the camera performs, and all I can say is, it is the best camera I have ever used on any smartphone, period. The images you can achieve are nothing short of spectacular, and even in low light you can now get a decent shot, which is an area most smartphone cameras absolutely fail in. The 4K video is also as crisp as ever, and the new autofocus is super quick as well, and overall I am very impressed. Overall, Samsung have delivered yet another awesome camera, and I can't wait to bring you guys more content and coverage on the camera itself, just to show you what it can achieve. So onto the battery life, an area that last year's Edge failed miserably in. So far it's been pretty impressive. The larger 3600mAh battery has been easily getting me through the day with heavy usage, but I'm still putting it through its paces, and we will see how it really performs over time when I deliver my full review. So that about rounds up my unboxing and first impressions video, guys. I'm sorry if I did go into a little bit too much detail, I just wanted to give you guys a good idea of how awesome the S7 Edge is. I think this year other manufacturers are going to have a really hard time competing with what Samsung has delivered. As always guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and if you have any questions, just ask below in the comment section and you know I will definitely get back to you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, then definitely do that, as there is going to be loads more coverage on the S7 coming in the next few days. As always guys, stay safe, be kind to each other, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace!